Okay, this is my flattened out knot that I'm going to make into a bracelet after having dyed it in the matte state. My first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of the string, which is actually right in between those two ends, and I'm going to start pulling a little bit of a loop from the center out toward one end. So I pull on it, and you notice the loop is getting bigger. That's because I'm actually making the bracelet smaller as I go. And I pull on that, and you notice I'm pulling the colors away from each other. So the two passes of the string that were getting the same amount of dye are no longer next to each other. This is what's going to make it look really cool when I'm done. I pull on each one as I go through. The loop gets bigger. Sometimes people ask me, how do you know which one to pull on? Well, it's not going to hurt anything to be wrong. So if you pull on it and it turns out to be the wrong one, just go to the next one. It's probably within one or two of where you thought you were supposed to be. And you notice that the colors are getting more dramatically different as it goes through. So I'm pulling that, and now there's that blue next to the red there, and the red next to the yellow. It's going to be all jumbled up, very chaotic. There's no way I can really predict what I'm going to end up with when I do these, because I don't really follow any regimen when I'm dyeing them. I just pour a puddle of dye into the knot and let it soak in, and then I dry it out. When I put two colors next to each other, they soak through the string, capillary action, and actually mix colors in the cloth. I use primary colors there, red, blue, and yellow, but you notice the green, of course, and there's purple. So, and there's a bit of orange. That's where the colors mixed with each other. Like I said, I don't really worry too much about how much of which one goes where, because I like for it to be different each time. You notice that loop is getting bigger. There's more and more different color next to each path. So that makes it a little easier to find out where I am too when I'm reaching down for that next loop to pull. A little easier to figure it out. So I'm bringing that through. I'm taking it all the way from the middle to one end. So now I have to go back to the middle, and I have to take the same process, pull the same loop out the other way. Now this time I'm going to be a little more careful, because what I want to do is I want to actually match them. In other words, the distance that the first piece of string is making around the knot, I want to actually match with the opposite half of it. Well, not perfectly, of course. If you pull too hard, you make the bracelet too small. If you don't pull enough, you leave loose places. It's a lot easier to take slack out than it is to put slack in. I may have to do some more adjustment on this later, because I'm working under time constraint and in front of a camera. But this is essentially how I'll do it. You see how the colors are getting more and more chopped up, more and more chaotically different from each other. I think this is one of the more interesting effects that I've come up with when I've been playing around with the dye. There's no real reason to expect any particular effect from it. I just do it and see what happens. But I'll probably use this method again and see what other different effects I come up with. I might try some different colors. I like using the primary colors and letting them mix, though, because that gives me an interesting pattern. Rainbow effect if I leave it alone. Well, I'm coming up to the end, so I think I'm going to skip ahead and show you the results. Here we go. So there's the completed knot. You notice I pulled a big chunk of loose string out at the end there. Looks pretty cool.